Hey everybody, welcome back. Sandra here. Thank you for joining me today. And today I have yet another awesome, exciting interview for you guys. This is Dr. Joana Frey. This is Dr. Asa Frey's wife, and she is one of the team here at Clínica Back to the Garden PR here in beautiful San Juan, Puerto Rico. And I have asked Joana specifically today to talk. We're not going to repeat anything that Dr. Asa and I talked about the other day. We're going to talk about different things. Joana is an expert in yoga and fitness, and so I specifically asked her if we could talk today about personal physical fitness, and we're breaking this interview into two parts. Part one is going to be just as your average person, what do you need to be thinking about as far as your personal staying fit, as far as your exercise is concerned, and things to maybe watch out for. And then part two is going to be when you're doing a doctor-monitored extended water fast, is there anything different that you need to consider when you're doing that? Because again, I always stress it needs to be doctor monitored. Anything over 4 days, please do not do this on your own. Please consult with with somebody who's qualified to do this, okay? I'm not a doctor, but I'm telling you that is what you need to do, okay? All right, so I will just go ahead. We'll get right into it. And thank you again so much for being with us today, Dr. Joana.
You're welcome. Hello. So, yes. What do you want to talk about specifically?
Our first thing is, why is it important for the average human, like the average adult, to remain physically active throughout their normal functional workday? What do they need to be thinking about as far as remaining physically fit, and why? That's apart from their diet, which should be a superior, healthy plant food based diet anyway. But apart from that, physically, what should they be doing and why?
Well, first of all, physical activity is one of the crucial factors to obtain optimum health, but it should not be done individually or isolated. Some people just do exercise and they don't practice the other lifestyle factors. So physical activity coupled with a healthy diet, and when I mean healthy diet, it's a whole food plant diet, no animal products, no salt, nor oil, or sugar, or processed sugar, or flour. Getting enough sleep, getting enough sun, and having an emotional state that's stable, not only inside you, but what surrounds you. So all of these together need to be practiced together. But physical activity is very important because it helps us maintain a healthy weight. We know that. And we also helps us build strong and healthy, not only muscle mass, but bone density. And one that I love is that it increases movement of all that extracellular fluid around your body, which means that your joints are getting lubricated, all of your organs, and that means more oxygen and nutrients is being delivered to all of our tissues.
I think that's a factor most people don't even think about.
Right, and another thing is that it increases the network of capillaries, so that means that more blood vessel growth, which also helps your brain. It helps all of your systems. But now with so many brain disorders, we can think about that too, and it will get us excited to do more physical activity, because as we create more capillaries in our brain and our tissues, that means more oxygen to our brain, which it is the primary fuel of our brain is oxygen. So more oxygen to our brain also, what does it do? It creates neuronal activity and connections, which help us with cognitive function. And cognitive function is so important because we want to reason better, we want to think, we have a good memory, we want to be able to be independent. So physical activity is extremely important. And what you do, if you're a sedentary person and you are unmotivated, like it happens to all of us, what you need to find is an activity that motivates you. It could be dancing, hiking, cycling, walking. Whichever one you choose to do, you need to be conscious while you're doing it. What does that mean? I see all the time in our neighborhood people walking and their limbs are just flopping around and they're just walking so slow. You have to walk incorporating all of your musculoskeletal system. So moving your arms, engaging the abdominal muscles, right? Engaging your back, all of that would increase movement to all of your systems, which means more nourishing and also more flexibility and strength throughout your body. So definitely finish your workout with a little bit of a stretch. That is so important. And if you don't have the time, come on, if you have time for your primal needs, which is feeding yourself, sleeping, and going to the bathroom, you have time to do a little exercise. So just do like 20 minutes. You don't have to go crazy. And don't get unmotivated or overwhelmed by these crazy workouts we see nowadays, like HIIT routines. Oh my God, they're so hard. And sometimes we're like scared to do them.
Yeah.
Do something that that motivates you. And start with 20 minutes, and if you want to prolong it to 40, perfect. 4 to 5 days a week, that's more than enough. So definitely don't hold back on exercise, and always do something fun, and bring a partner. If you're somebody that needs support, then bring a partner along, and perfect.
Yeah. And if you're not, don't be afraid if somebody says, "Oh, I want to walk with you." Don't be afraid to say, I really prefer to walk alone. I mean, whatever works for you, it's got to be sustainable. Okay, it really does. So if you prefer to be alone when you take your walks in the afternoon, then do that. And if you like to have an accountability partner or a friend go with you, then do it that way. But it needs to be something that you enjoy, that brings you pleasure, and then in return, as Dr. Joanna said, the increased oxygen, the increased capillaries, the blood flow, all these things that we don't even think about. Most people think exercise equals weight loss, exercise equals weight loss, exercise equals muscle building, but that's not the whole point of it.
Also stimulates the secretion of feel-good hormones. So when you exercise, you typically feel fantastic after. So if you're having anxiety, worriness, or whatever you're feeling that is not in a good mood, do some sort of exercise. It really takes away all your worries and anxieties. Put some good music, try to center yourself. You feel great afterwards, and typically after an exercise, you are more inclined to make better decisions for a healthy life. Like, you want to eat something healthy, doesn't it? Every time you do exercise, you want to eat a salad or eat more fruit. It's just,
It's
it
a beautiful
works.
circle.
It's a synergistic effect that bring everything together, and then you can sleep better at night, and then you wake up the next morning more centered, making better decisions. So don't hold back. On the contrary, get into it.
So we were talking, a friend of mine, Barbara, had asked me specifically about, if you have certain joint problems, knee problems, bunions, things like that. And we talked about that this morning, and you had some great feedback for people who are thinking, what kind of activities can I do? But then you mentioned that really the most important thing to start with is what?
Well, what the stretching. We were talking about stretching. First of all, these people usually have issues with their weight, and obviously they have some dietary issues and other factors that they're not, the lifestyle factors we've already mentioned, they're not practicing it. So we were talking about, because Sandra and I have had weight issues in the past, and we might not look like we had them, but Sandra was morbidly obese, and I have 40 more pounds on my weight. So I used to work out so vigorously, thinking that I was going to lose weight. I never lost more than 3 or 4 pounds. What really changed my weight was my dietary habits and sleeping well and quitting drugs like alcohol. So this really made a huge change in my life. So what I would say is stretch. Incorporate a really healthy stretching routine that goes along with your issues. So if you have knee problems, well, stretching your knees, stretching your lower back, look it up online, go to a good yoga teacher that can help you with these, and incorporate breathing. Now, I would say that this would be the first thing to do, because once you start stretching your joints and your ligaments and your tendons, you can actually are more flexible to move, and eventually what? Do some exercise, like
Then
walking.
more comes, yeah.
Obviously, you need to incorporate the diet there, because if you don't, you will not see that progress that you're looking forward. So
Yeah. So first of all, the stretching, and then focus on that first, and work the ligaments, and then you'll start feeling more like the other activity. I know for me, it was a couple months after I became a nutritarian that I even felt like walking, and then I'm like, today I'm going to walk. And then I got out there and I started walking, and my hips were like, oh God, but then after a week or two, that went away. And so little by little, you kind of work into the routine, but it's not for weight loss. The exercise, don't be thinking of the exercise as weight loss. Think of it as all those other benefits that come together, and then weight loss can possibly be one later, but it's the diet, it's your eating plan that's going to bring about your weight loss. And I've discovered that for myself, that it's the eating plan. Even when I'm not exercising, when I go through a month or two, if I'm sticking with my whole food, plant-based, healthy plan, I'm still losing weight. But the exercise will benefit other things. Okay, is there anything else you can think of just for the general person that we want to mention? Like we were talking about strength, flexibility, and endurance. Did I cover all three, or
absolutely.
Is there another?
No, all those growing of blood vessels in your system, what it does is develops an efficient metabolism, which will help you with enhance your endurance and your strength. So in general, what I would say, because physical activity could be just like another thing on your list to do, is to find something that you really enjoy and be conscious and present and activate your whole body and leave some space for stretching and breathing at the end. You need to stretch at the end. A lot of people do tremendous workouts and then they stop and they didn't stretch the areas, and then they end up with neck issues and lower back pain, etc. And try to do things like Sandra said. She started having an appetite to do exercise after a little while. So don't pressure yourself.
Right.
Focus on the main things. Change your diet, sleep well, avoid drugs like alcohol and cigarettes and other things, and get some sun, right? And then once you start feeling better, more motivated, find those types of activities that you would like to do.
If you don't like it, you're not going to keep doing it.
No,
Okay,
exactly.
It's got to be sustainable. So,
for example, for me, I get tired easily, so I need to change my activities. So, for instance, I used to pressure myself to do a really hard workout because I had that mentality that would help me lose weight. And I'm so glad I discovered and I was able to identify and stop that, because it was making me miserable in a sort of way. So now if I wake up in the morning, I'm not feeling up to exercise, I typically choose something softer, something easier, like doing a yoga routine. And I don't do it for so long. I just do 20, 25 minutes. After I put the timer, I do that little routine, very soft, breathing, stretching. I feel fantastic. And then some mornings I wake up so energetic and I say, okay, I want to do some cycling. So I go and cycle. And some mornings I want to do maybe like a HIIT routine. And sometimes I just want to walk around the neighborhood, bring my weights. And even though I look ridiculous, I walk, move my body.
who cares? Who
And
cares
you know what?
we look like?
I don't care, because
Nope.
systemically I'm using all of my body. So I feel like I'm taking advantage of my time as well. So there you go.
Yeah. Okay, so think about flexibility with your stretching, and think about strength training with the weights, and think about endurance. If you later on, if you can, maybe with the elliptical, and getting your heart rate up and that kind of thing, and keep it sustainable, keep it enjoyable, something that that you'll keep doing. Mix it up. You know how we eat a variety. We eat the rainbow of fruits. We eat the rainbow of vegetables. Okay, so do the rainbow of physical activity and try different things. Go kayaking, go rent kayaks, and go down a river with a friend, or try a little jogging or fast walking, if you can, in your neighborhood, or join the gym and try the elliptical, try the, I hate to use this term, well, I won't say it.
People like
The stair
Zumba,
climber.
the dancing.
Yeah, the Zumba, that's right, Pilates, PO.
Pilates is great. I love Pilates.
Yeah, for core. There are all kinds of things you can try. You can buy DVDs online and buy them, or you can subscribe to people on YouTube that do routines, and just give it a shot. Don't be scared. Just take step number one after you get to where you start feeling like you can, after you've followed a whole food plant-based and you kind of get to that point. Add that in, but the stretching is number one to start with. Start with the stretching, and there are more benefits, like we said, just to wrap part one up, than just what you think. There are a lot more benefits to this. Okay, so moving on to part two is, which we want to be very clear about this, is when you're doing a doctor-monitored extended water fast, what is different? Because I know I was out here trying to go as fast as I could around the backyard, and Dr. Joana said, it's not, no speed. That's not, you're not out here trying to burn calories, okay? That's not what you're doing. So she refocused me on what I needed to be thinking about as far as physical activity is concerned during a fast. My fast was 17 days, okay? And I went through, it was easy, relatively speaking, for me, but I did go through some things with the no energy, etc. So Dr. Joana now is going to talk specifically about things that your doctor will go over with you when you're doing a water fast differently.
Well, first of all, we need to define quickly fasting, which is what? The absence of any substance except water in a complete environment of rest. So exercise is contraindicated because the energy that you have during the fast, you want to utilize it where? And the removal of all those waste products, right? Those intermediate byproducts of metabolism, those chemicals, rebuilding your tissues, right? Reintegrating your health. And that requires a lot of energy. And the energy you are fasting is limited, so you want to use it accordingly to your purposes of the goals that you have for fasting,
Perfect
which
way
is
to
what?
describe it.
So what I would say is that don't be thinking about exercise. That's not on your list. This is a great moment actually to not exercise. It's something less, great, I don't have to exercise. But what I do recommend all of my patients, because I notice the changes in myself every time I do a fast. Recently I did a 14-day fast, and I always have a small stretching and breathing practice. What does that mean? It means it's not yoga ashtanga, it's not the hard yoga you see out there. It's restorative poses. And restorative poses are poses that are meant to relax you and to make you feel what? Completely in rest. So they go aligned with the fast. And I'm talking about 3 to 5 poses that you do during the fast. And this I highly recommend for many reasons. But describing what the practice would be 5 to 20 minutes a day or twice a day, where you do 3 or 4 of these poses, incorporated with deep breaths, but easy deep breaths. You don't want to go crazy trying to breathe. You want something that it's easy, but you do it through the nose. And what all this combination does is activates your parasympathetic nervous system. And this is very important. We want to activate it during the fast even more because it's going to relax you more. It's going to make you feel centered. And you know what else it's going to do? It's going to relax all of your muscles, release tension that we typically acquire more during the fast, because we adopt these terrible positions, and I include myself there. You're on the phone, you're on the computer, you're feeling it, you don't have energy, so you slouch, and you're in the bed all the time, and then your lower back starts to ache, and you get cramps in your feet and your legs and your neck. Oh my God, I remember my neck. So what we do is that we add this little stretching routine. I would do that in the morning and at night because, like Sandra, I had a lot of energy during my fast, so it didn't inhibit me to do those. Obviously, if you're completely without any energy, I wouldn't recommend it. But if you have some energy, it actually makes you feel better during the fast.
It does.
It makes you feel good. That connection of the breath, which brings a lot of oxygen to all parts of your body and nourishing of those nutrients, what it does is that it helps you keep your mind releasing of anxiety. A lot of people get anxious during the fast. You know why? Because we're so used to in our daily living, to doing, to making, to producing, being stimulated, that when we come to the fast, it's like, wait, I'm supposed to do nothing? What? I can't. And some people struggle with that.
That's true.
It's struggling. It's actually, I think, the hardest thing of the fast. Not doing anything. So that breathing practice and stretching during the morning and in the afternoon, oh my God, it changes your whole fast because it releases anxiety and worriness. It makes you focus more on what's important, which is what? The detoxification process. And what? Be more present to notice what? The beautiful changes that are happening day by day that you will not see in any kind of other treatment. In water fasting, you will see so many profound changes day by day. Your weight, of course, if you're looking to lose weight, but the skin and your systems and your breath and your hair, your eyesight, your everything gets affected in a good way. So that centeredness really stands out for you to appreciate it more and not be thinking about superficial things that we sometimes focus about. What is mom doing? What is my... No. It's just about you.
Yeah.
So highly recommend that.
Here at Back to the Garden, Clinic at Back to the Garden in San Juan, we have this beautiful backyard, and Dr. Asa and Joanna have yoga mats, bolsters, that's the word I couldn't think of the other day, the bolsters, which are very, very thick, very hard and thick, and they're able to support you to lay over it. This is new I'm going to get one. To lay over it on your stomach or to lay on it on your back and stretch. I laid over it and I had my butt on the ground and I was just stretching my lower back in a direction, and it just kind of opened up a little bit. You can lay your arms back like that onto the ground. So, just to come out in the backyard and just to relax here with the flowers. Going to a clinic will give you a chance to get away. Okay, I thought, well, I'm going to read all these books. I'm going to do work. I'm going to do some schoolwork, but it is not a time for all that, and you're probably not going to want to do all that if you're doing this the right way. Okay, you're not going to want to go into town, get your nails done. You're going to want to just chill, okay, and relax a little bit. But to get that stretching in, and we would always, my female roommate and I were like, oh God, we don't want to go out there right now. But when it was over, we would be glad we did because we had that renewed, that energy, that little bit of energy that we got from it, but it was emotional too. Okay, it wasn't just the physical, it was also the emotional, just the kind of feeling a little bit better, So you're not trying to exert calories, you're just trying to get a little bit of oxygen flow, and you're just trying to stretch a little bit, and relaxing is what you need to be thinking of when you're for the exercise that you do during an extended water fast. Is there anything else you want to add?
No, I would say that everybody that it's looking forward to ameliorating or improving their life should not focus on the minimal aspects that we hear. There's so much information out there.
Yeah.
Eat blueberries because of this and this. Eat it because of that. Eat this because of this. Forget about that. Just look. If you want to have an optimum health, look good in the mirror. Have a great weight, right? That you feel confident. That you can notice how your body's working efficiently. Just think about playing the 5, what I call the lifestyle factors. So good diet, sleeping, get some sun. Don't be scared of the sun. 15 minutes outside every day if you can, right? Having a good attitude about life. So maybe meditating, maybe breathing deeply, doing something that will connect you with yourself, avoiding drugs, right? And then exercise. All of these together, they are so important to obtain the life that you're looking forward. Now, fasting, what it does is that enables you to bridge that out faster, because it's hard sometimes. We're so addicted to food, and to social media and to all the stimulants out there. And fasting, supervised, helps you it's like you're forced in a way, but you're happily forced, because otherwise you wouldn't have done it. If you do a fast in your home, you end up doing things eventually. So you're here, you're engaged in an environment that supports you to be in your very best in the detoxification process, and to finally have a great excuse to let go of what's outside of your daily living in the past, and then prepare you to what? To have a better life in the future. So all these patients leave here with a great palate, savoring foods their natural way as they never had before, and be more centered, be more calm, more focused, and with a lot of tools in their handbag. Because now, Sandra, learn some stretches and the importance of breathing, right? And about other information that we teach our patients, and about food, etc. So give yourself that opportunity. If you can't do it fast, just practice those life factors, and you will see immediate benefits. Immediate.
Community-based activities, like tying in with the sense of self that Dr. Joana was mentioning, where you can try to take the focus off of the food that people are going to be bringing in the blue zones. It's not the food. The food is pretty much the same all the time. When they invite family and friends over to their home, they invite them over to spend time with them. They do not invite them over to prepare a special meal. The food is the same all the time, but their focus is on the fellowship. And that's one thing that is brought to mind quite a bit when you're fasting, is you're thinking, and like when I'm intermittent fasting or just trying to live my life out in this world, I don't put my focus on the smells coming from the appetizers in all the restaurants when I'm walking around a fun district or that kind of thing, or the food that we see. I focus on the music, my friend that I'm with. I focus on the lights and the everything else, and try to take the focus off of what everybody seems to be easiest to put it on, which is the food. That's just the easiest thing to dump our attention on, in our society, in American society. That's what we do, So we go against the flow when we are trying to, to break apart from always thinking about the food and what are we going to fix and all that, and think about the people. I think that's one thing that has really been brought to my mind the most in my journey so far, since late 2015. Okay, so to wrap this up, I would like for you to tell us about the website and some of the services that y'all offer here at Clinica Back to the Garden.
Well, our website is backtothegardenpr.com, and Back to the Garden, we do consults, long distance and locally here in Puerto Rico, not only for people that want to reverse their condition, but for people that want to prevent conditions and want to have a better quality of life, because sometimes we don't understand what it requires to be healthier, and sometimes we have some symptoms and we're like, So you get to learn all of that in our consults, and we help you achieve and start practicing a better quality of life. And we also have here our center that is the only center in the world that's Spanish-based, where we do water fasting supervised by doctors. So we're really excited about that. Right. And Sandra speaks English, but she came in here and she did fine, right?
Yeah. They say that Puerto Rican dialect is the fastest Spanish-speaking dialect in the world, and I believe that. I believe that.
It is. We speak very fast.
Yeah, it's much faster than anyone I've ever heard. And so, I sometimes trying to keep up, like I'm running behind them, trying to keep up.
No,
but,
she did very well. Very well.
But I very much enjoyed my experience here. And so it's backtothegardenpr.com. And on the website
we have a website, but we're full of free information, because like she was talking about food, sometimes we're so scared to go to places and bring our own food, and just like how we're going to adapt to this new lifestyle. And I also always like to tell my patients, it's about mimicking your old foods when you haven't fasted and you're raw and you're trying to change your diet, which can be really hard. What I always do is mimic your old foods into the, you just take whatever it was before that you ate and just make it as similar as you can, but healthy, without stimulants. You have to cut out the salt and the sugar and the flour. Why? Because you will still feel addicted to all that, and you will never escape that.
That's right.
That hole you're in. So you can do it using celery and different kind of herbs and spices. And I have so many free recipes.
They're free,
and you can get them. Just if you don't know Spanish, just mark them and put them in Google Translate. So many in our blog, in our Facebook account, in our Instagram. So go there and check them all out and enjoy.
The YouTube channel Back to the Garden, it's not Clinica, but it's just Back to the Garden PR. You can find it, and it is a prolific YouTube channel. Okay, Dr. Joana does a lot of cooking demonstrations. They're in Spanish, but she's got like a million on there. Okay, and even if you don't understand Spanish, they're fun to watch. And just her enthusiasm, over whole food. It's really neat. Dr. Asa's are mostly in English. Occasionally he'll record himself doing a presentation in Spanish, like to a small group of people, but for the most part his are in English. So check out the entire YouTube channel, okay? And on the website, you told me that y'all are working to translate your recipes into English.
We're going to translate the whole website very soon, but in the meantime, I love Google Translate. You copy, paste, put it in Google Translate, and you get the recipe.
Yep.
Done. And our recipes are Hispanic based, so you can get that flair.
Nice tropical flair.
Yeah. So.
But still healthy, very healthy.
Still very healthy. There's no salt, oil, sugar, and you won't need it. These recipes are
adapted, safely adapted. Caribbean recipes, safely adapted for our way of eating. So thank you again so much, Dr. Joana. This has been awesome. I just appreciate it very much, and I hope everybody has a good day.
And I have to say, she did wonderful in her fast.
Well, thank you.
So congratulations.
Thank you. I enjoyed it very much. I appreciate it. I definitely feel it. All right, well, everybody have a good day. We'll talk to y'all soon. Bye.